And if you would like to donate, I want to remind you guys, you can call the number at the bottom of the screen, right there, all day. That's the information to share. It's much quicker and easier to donate online, but you're welcome to call. We do not have a full call center. We have Liz. Yay, Liz. So we prefer that you donate online. And that is at www.cdhi.org. There's a big yellow button right on the homepage that says donate. You press there. It's completely safe and secure. And all donations are tax deductible. You will receive a receipt, and you can note it is in honor or memory of a cherub. So, and we are up for our first celebrity video. Are you guys ready? We're keeping these secret all day. And I've had a really hard time keeping some of these secrets.
Happy CDH Awareness Day. Please donate to help these kids. This video is for charity.
I'm Amanda Plakholm.
And I'm Liz Plakholm, and we're here today to talk to you about CDH International and its effect on us. So when I was 9 years old, my mom first told me about Cherubs, a website that supported CDH survivors, and she told me like what they were doing, and I decided to donate my birthday money to it. So I wanted to get more people involved. So I asked my parents if I could do a walk for CDH. The first year we had 10 people come out in support, but we had over $2,000 raised at the end of the walk. This is our 6th year doing the walk, and in the 5 years that we've done it so far, we've raised over $10,000. Thanks to Cherubs, I have met a lot of other CDH survivors, and they've impacted our life, and thank you for the support.
So, as Elizabeth said, Cherubs is a support group for survivors and non-survivors, parents, and the CDHers themselves. As they grow, they can become part of a support group that's specifically for the teenagers and the adults, which I think is phenomenal because I don't even really understand how it's impacted Elizabeth emotionally. So that's great, and it's got a place for parents to talk to each other and get support from each other and ask questions and really get a true understanding from people who know exactly what you're going through. So this is why after Elizabeth's first walk, I decided that I would volunteer and became part of the awareness committee. So with that, I worked on getting landmarks and buildings in Canada to light up for CDH awareness, because Canada, up until that point, didn't have very much going on along with CDH research that I knew about or through Cherubs. So it was great. So now, after being on the awareness committee for a while, I am on the fundraising committee and the CPAB board, and I am also one of the Canadian reps. And through that, I've been working hard to get other Canadian families on the Cherubs Canada Facebook page so that we can feel the same support here that they do in the States, and that families aren't feeling as alone as we did when Elizabeth was young. So I will jump right into Elizabeth's story now. At 12 weeks in utero, I went for my ultrasound to see how far along I was, and instantly the ultrasound tech seemed to be acting kind of strange, and I didn't really know what was going on. And then she called in a doctor, and being it was my first child, I didn't think that was normal, but I wasn't 100% sure. And then the doctor came in, and neither of them really talked to me or said anything. But then after the ultrasound was over, the ultrasound tech, she said that my family doctor would be in touch with me with the results within 24 hours. And the way she was speaking and the way she was acting, I knew that something wasn't good. And then The family doctor called and told me that I should bring my husband along and that she needed to see us. So that was awful because we had to wait, and my husband was out of town, so he had to come rushing back home. And then we went and met with the doctor, and that's when she gave us the CDH diagnosis, which we had no idea what that meant, but we knew it was going to turn our world upside down because we had to travel for the rest of Elizabeth's care, and the doctor that we knew would no longer be working with us. And then there was lots and lots of tests, obviously, and we had Elizabeth at 38 weeks. And unfortunately, I did not keep notes of Elizabeth's hospital stay. I can remember pretty much everything, but don't know days and don't know the names of tests or drugs that she was on, medications that she was given, which after being a part of Cherubs and the advice that's given of, you know, take paper, take a logbook, write everything down, take lots of pictures. That's another thing. We don't have all that many pictures of Elizabeth when she was in the hospital. Those are some of the regrets that I have when I read other people's stories and CDH journeys. I wish that we had stuff written down. So when Elizabeth's even older, she has a full understanding of just how lucky she is to be here. She already knows that she's lucky, but just to read through those books and get a full understanding would be amazing. So at 3 days old, she had surgery, and we were told to prepare for her not making it, which was not the first time we had been told that, but she pulled through. There was a lot of ups and downs along the road, but we were lucky that at 6 weeks she was sent to our local hospital with just feeding issues that we had to work on. So we just had to get her eating so they could take out the tubes and we could take her home. So we were lucky that way. But because Elizabeth's older, I thought I would talk more about her journey as she has aged, because new families maybe aren't fully aware of some of the things that can happen. So we were told when we were discharged that the only thing we had to watch out for was bowel obstruction, and that otherwise she would live a healthy, normal life. And we had no idea what was in store for us, basically. And we moved when Elizabeth was 1, and we never got a pediatrician after we moved. So we just had our local GP, and he's fantastic, but a CDH baby needs more than just a general practitioner. And she did really well until age 6, and then at age 6 she was missing a lot of school. The school would call pretty much every other day because she wasn't feeling well. The receptionist was giving her placebos, giving her Tic Tacs, hoping that maybe it was, you know, the typical I just don't want to be at school stuff, but it definitely wasn't. She was lethargic, she was pale, she was having abdominal pain. The GP had ruled out bowel obstruction, but did find gallstones. So then we did a whole diet change, thinking that maybe it was for gallbladder. We thought maybe it was celiac, so we tried cutting that out. We tried cutting out dairy, and it was none of that. And finally we convinced the GP to do a CAT scan, and the local surgeon was fantastic when I met with him, and he read her CAT scan and found that a piece of her bowel was going through her diaphragm because it had torn away and was being pinched, but it was happening sporadically, so it wasn't hurting her all the time, hence why she would have good days and then bad days. And also there was no way an x-ray was going to show it unless It just happened to catch that moment when her bowel was up in her diaphragm. So then we were referred back down to to the children's hospital, and the surgeon there did it laparoscopically and told us that Elizabeth was his first ever patient that had re-herniated. So I'm not even sure that he was aware that it happened, and that was shocking to us. So that's part of the reason when I found Cherubs and saw all the great things they were doing, that I wanted to be a part of it, because parents need to be aware of what they need to watch out for their children, for their CDHers, and we weren't aware at all. So basically after that, Elizabeth, she did good until, well, she had surgery at age 7, and she did good until about 9. Yeah, she was probably about 9 years old when same sort of symptoms started happening. She was lethargic, she was pale, she was having pain, abdominal pain, she was tired, headaches. She just wasn't doing well. So luckily, we hadn't been, after our surgeon saw us, it hadn't been a full year since he had last seen us, so we didn't need the referral. So I was able to call down there and make an appointment without having to get a referral from the doctor here. And I called down, and they scheduled a CAT scan, and they scheduled an MRI. And we went down and we did that, and they found that she had a duplication cyst, which is another genetic anomaly. She would have been born with it. So basically it is a cyst that was right where her stomach and her esophagus meet. And they also wanted to check her repair and make sure that it hadn't torn away, because after the first time it was repaired, we were told they didn't replace it, they just sewed it back to the same part of the diaphragm, and odds are it would probably tear again. So they wanted to check and make sure that that hadn't happened again too, and just look everything over while they were in there, and take her gallbladder out since she had gallstones. So that was the plan, and that's what we were hoping would happen. And the surgeon did it laparoscopically, and it took so long to remove the duplication cyst that he didn't feel comfortable operating any longer on her. So he did check her patch, and it looked okay. It was a bit, I can't remember the word, a bit raised up, basically, anyways, because her bowel was pushing up on it. Eventration, I think is what it's called, and it was pushing up on it, which they had kind of pulled it down. But when they removed the duplication cyst, her stomach and her spleen were conjoined, so he had to separate them, which took a lot longer than he had expected. So he did not remove her gallbladder. So they sewed her up, and then the next day they were thinking that she'd be eating and things would be good. And that is not at all the way it happened. So basically, when he removed her spleen and her stomach, when he separated the two from each other, the tool that he used caused a perforation in her stomach. So everything they were having her drink was going out of her stomach into her abdominal cavity. And we had emergency surgery after that was found. 24 hours later, after her first surgery, she had an emergency surgery to fix that perforation. And then she was in ICU again, and another 36 hours later, Elizabeth's numbers were showing she was fine, and she was still heavily medicated and not fully awake, but we knew something was wrong because she was puffy, her abdomen was rock hard, and it turned out she had another stomach perforation. So they did another emergency surgery and repaired that stomach perforation. And what turned into us being in the hospital for 4 days turned into 6 weeks, and a lot of complications, a lot of ups and downs. And then we were discharged after 6 weeks and sent home, and we knew something wasn't right with Elizabeth. She was having a lot of pain, and she just wasn't getting back to her old self. And nobody seemed to be able to figure out what was going on. So we waited for 3 months to get into a pediatrician, and the first time he saw her, he knew something was wrong, and he got her in for a CAT scan right away and found that she had an infection, an abdominal infection. Her patch had a little pouch of infection on it. Nobody's ever really told us exactly why, but we've always just thought it's because the stomach perforations and the stuff that had leaked out, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the reason, or if patches can just get infections. I'm not sure. But since then, she had a good 4 years, and then last summer she started feeling bad again, and we tried to get into the pediatrician and holidays and all of that stuff. So we ended up going 30, I think she went 25 days of vomiting and countless trips to emerge before anybody could figure out what was going on. And basically they did a stomach emptying study down at the Children's Hospital on our second trip to emerge there. They admitted her, hooked her up to an IV, did the stomach emptying study, and realized that she had gastroparesis. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but basically it's when your stomach stops working, it stops emptying, and whatever you're eating just sits in there, and then you eat something else, and then you end up throwing it up. And she lost 7 pounds and didn't want to eat, because who would want to eat if you know you're gonna just throw it up? So they had talked about possibly having to put in a J tube, and it potentially being permanent, which at 14, that's pretty tough to take. So we weighed our options, and we were in the hospital for a month, and they tried domperidone, and Resotran is what she is taking. Precalopride is the other name for it. So she's taking that, and it seems to be helping. When we got home, she was on a very restricted, low residue diet, so no meat, no fat, no red meat, no fat, no sugar, no, lots of sugar. Anything that can break down really easily. No fruits or vegetables with seeds, no peels. It was pretty tough on her at 14, but she's been doing a lot better, and her diet restrictions have pretty much lifted. You can still tell if she overdoes it, but and then this is really, really important for any CDH parent out there who doesn't already know this. Always know what side your child's appendix are on. If we didn't know until somebody at Cherubs had told us. I saw one of the posts to find out which side your daughter or son's appendix are on. So when Elizabeth had her CAT scan, one of her CAT scans, I asked the surgeon what side her appendix was on, and we had never been told. So I think she was 13 before we found out that her appendix was actually on the opposite side of what it's supposed to be. So this past December, she was sick and having abdominal pain, and it turned out that the GP that we saw in Emerge said, well, it's not her appendix, that's the wrong side. And I had to explain to him Elizabeth's history, and that could be her appendix on that side. So that totally changed everything. Instead of being sent home, there was a surgeon called in and they ran lots of tests, and a day and a half later Elizabeth had her appendix taken out. So for all you parents out there, just be aware that knowing what side your CDH's appendix are on is super important and can save you a lot of headaches. And make sure that your doctor's aware of it too, because like I said, we were never told. And if they don't read the file, if your GP or your pediatrician hasn't read the file, they might not even be aware of it either. So that's Elizabeth's story, and that is, like I said, the biggest reason that I want to help other CDH families and help with research and help so there's more awareness. Part of what I've been doing in Canada is a Blue Jays gathering. So every April for CDH Awareness Month for the last, well, this will be year 5, we've been buying tickets for the Blue Jays game and booking off a section. So the first year it started, there was another CDH family that was in Toronto waiting to have their baby. And they last minute, spur of the moment on April 19th thought, well, why don't we go to the Blue Jays game? And I've been talking to them, and I made a post on Cherubs and said any other families. So there was 3 families, us and 2 other families that went that year. And then it became a yearly thing because it was just so nice to be able to share our experiences with other people who understood. And those 2 families were my first 2 families that I'd ever met, and I still talk to them. And every year I'm excited to see them. So this year there's 135 people going, including Dawn, who's the founder of Cherubs, and a surgeon from Sick Kids is going to be there, a CDH surgeon who's helped a lot with research, which is super exciting. And I can't wait to meet some new families and make some new connections and new friends. So within saying that, another thing that I've been working on is getting the buildings and landmarks to light up. And this year we have 10 landmarks lighting up across Canada. And it's super important, I think, to go out to these light ups if you can, if you have one in your area. It's a pretty emotional experience. Last year there was several of us after the ball game that went to the CN Tower lighting up, and we will be doing that again this year. To stand at the bottom of that tower and think that that's lighting up for all of the survivors and all of the taken and all the CDH angels, and what we can do if we work together to help all these CDH families is just phenomenal. So please, please, please support the telethon, support CDH International and all the great things that they are doing for research and for other countries. Just do what you can and share and raise awareness. And I want to thank you very much for watching.
Hey guys and gals. You know, April 19th is CDH Awareness Day, so please go to cdh.org and help these kids out. They need your support, and we need you. Hey guys and gals. You know, April 19th is
Where are you going? You got to pull in Jennifer. Like now. All right, everybody. Thank you, Amanda, so much for sharing your story. You and Lizzie are an inspiration. Lizzie is such an incredible kid. I can't wait to meet you both and so many of our Canadian families next weekend when I'm in Toronto at the big game, and hope to see many more of you then. So next we have Jennifer Dickerson, who I have met twice now over the past few years, and she is such a special lady, and I am very proud to call her a friend. Her story is incredible, and it is unlike most CDH stories. I said earlier, stories are different. Jennifer's and her family's story is so incredibly different from 99% of families. And it's an honor to have her here to share her very long CDH journey with us. So we are ready for Jennifer. All right, so this is our, give us 1 second and Jennifer will be right in. And this is going to be our first split screen interview, so bear with us as we work out any technical issues. We're gonna learn how to do this super quick. All right, so I don't want to share Jennifer's story before she gets here, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the office right now. Right now we have Liz in the office kitchen with a phone and a computer tallying up donations and taking calls as they come in. We have Rachel in charge of all of the beautiful overlays with the names that you see, and she's the person who's changing out to celeb videos, to me, to our guest, and Dallas is on camera and technical support, making sure that everyone can pop into the split screen as needed. And we are making quite a team this early in the morning. So how are we doing, Dallas? All right, so he's working on that, and Jennifer will be with us in just a minute. So when you go live, things happen, and you kind of roll with it. And so that's what we're doing. So I'm just gonna keep talking just a few minutes until we get Jennifer in here. So Jennifer is hopefully waiting right outside the imaginary technical green room we have here, and she'll be in just a moment. So we're going to have our first telethon total at 9 o'clock, and at the top of every hour, I will be giving you an updated total. And our goal today is to reach $50,000. And in order to do that, we need your help. We need you to share these videos as much as you can, not just on Facebook. Email it to your family and friends, share it around your office. Twitter, LinkedIn is a great place to share as well. And ask people to donate, and please donate yourself. Every single dollar counts. We operate everything that we do on a $250,000 budget. 6,300 families in 70 countries, all the research work we do, all the family support that we do, all the awareness that we do, all this lovely technical stuff that we make happen, everything that we do on a $250,000 budget with an 8% overhead. That means that 92 cents of every dollar goes directly to help families and children affected by CDH. That is unheard of in the nonprofit world, and we're very, very proud of those statistics. And I mean, of that percentage, not statistics. And we are a gold labeled charity. We're an award-winning charity, a presidential seal of approval charity. Every year we win more awards, and we're incredibly proud. And we win those awards because we work hard. We, as in everyone in this office, all of our volunteers around the world, we work very, very hard to help families and to do it the right way, with our focus not on being the biggest or the best or achieving any of these awards. Our focus is always, always has been, always will be to stop CDH, to save the lives of these children. So that's what's kept us going for 23 years. That and our wonderful sponsors, our donors, our families who are here and participate in the charity and do fundraisers and participate in the research survey study and who support each other every single day, and all of our incredible employees, our boards, our volunteers. They make everything happen along with all of you. So we can't help the families without your help. So please help us to help them, and you can donate at www.cdhi.org. And we're ready when you guys are ready. One more minute? All right. So we're working on that. And so what else can I let you know about CDH International? So we have 3 boards, and over the past week or so, we've been posting 2 photos every day of board members at CDH International. We have our executive board of directors, which is made up of business people. Most of them are located here in the Raleigh area. We have face-to-face board meetings every quarter, and we have conference calls every month, and they are aware of everything that goes on at the charity all the time. They help us make the big decisions, the business decisions, the executive decisions to make the cherubs division and CDH International run smoothly. And it looks like we may have our guest. One moment. All right. So we're going to be a little bit off schedule. We're going to make that up at the top of the next hour. So if you're one of our guests, please know that we are going to stay on schedule. I'm just going to cut some time off of my speaking time at 9 o'clock to make up for this. So we will get going as soon as possible. And so Dallas and Rachel are working on that. And